guys, so today we're talking about the best-selling cards under $5. That's the Yu-Gi-Oh! Penny Stock Market Watch. Sorry about the delay. I was just doing some Memorial Day activities with my family, friends, and girlfriend. But now we're just ready to rock and roll. Curious to see what the ban list does to the market. That's always really exciting when a ban list is looming, to see if there's any impact at all on the market. Doesn't really seem like there was any impact at all. This is now number 1. I've had a really difficult time. I'm actually building right now a War Rock deck, and I've thought about running this card in War Rock. You guys can let me know in the comments down below if you've played War Rock, if you think this card could work. I definitely am curious about it because War Rock could honestly get away with not running any hand traps. But that's the biggest drawback, is like you can't run any hand traps in this card, right? I mean, I guess you can, because it does say for the rest of this duel. So I guess like the theory could be like going second. Like this is a going first card. Like you side out your hand traps going first. Put in this card. A lot of times people will side out hand traps anyway going first. So it could be a really good side decked card. But I don't know if it's a good enough card. It's probably what's holding this card back. But like I said, when the card first came out, all it's going to take, like Small World, for example, all it's going to take is like a little interaction for that card to explode. So definitely keep your eye on that one. This makes a lot of sense. I mean, there were, from my count, there were 8 decks that got hit by the ban list directly. That's not even including like decks that are worse because of the loss of Gamma or the Lightning Storm going to 2, right? Just different things like that. But like 8 decks directly got hit, semi-limited, limited, or banned, or all of the above, right? Labyrinth was not one of them. I think the reason for that, this deck hasn't really been that good. Hasn't performed super well, but I think, you know, you're going to see a lot of top 10s floating around this week. I myself am going to be doing a top 10. I think that this deck, you know, could enter into a lot of people's top 10s. Skill Drain is still a really powerful card. This deck doesn't really care too much about the extra deck. The reason that's, I don't know why that's relevant, but it's relevant to me. So, but there is when, you know, when a ban list happens, a lot of people go, okay, cool. What were the best decks that didn't get hit on the ban list? And Labyrinth, you know, Trap Tricks, Marinus, there's a few that didn't really get hit on the ban list. So, you know, think about picking up Welcome Labyrinth stuff if you'd like. Or Labyrinth stuff if you like. It's probably all real expensive. I don't really think this deck's actually going to be that great, though. But I could see why there's hype. I think this is, like, if you've been playing Labyrinth for a while and you want to try something new, I think now is a great time to sell it, right? Because a lot of people are just curious to see what Labyrinth can do. Now, the format's a little fixed. Another thing, too, evenly matched. This was sort of an indirect thing where Lightning Storm going to 2, while it's not, I don't really think Lightning Storm at 2 is that big of a deal. Like, I don't really love Lightning Storm at 3. Like, I know you want to see it as quickly as you can, but I only have 2 Lightning Storm Master Duel, and I never really had an issue. But I run a lot of cards at 2 to begin with. Like, you can't activate, like, there's no point in activating, like, when it comes to a card like Lightning Storm, or even like Evenly Matched, like, the second time you activate it is just not as impactful as the first time, usually, I should say. But the thing is, with Evenly Matched, since Lightning Storm got hit, a lot of people are probably looking at this card going, we could just run this card as a board wipe. Now, I personally am not the biggest fan of skipping your battle phase, but Evenly Matched has proven over time that it doesn't really care. This is another card. So I think Evenly Matched is a good, I don't think it's the greatest buy, but I think it's a good buy right now. If you can get it like under 4, I honestly think, though, if you can find the structure deck, because there was a lot of really good cards in the structure deck. I've talked about the structure deck a lot. Like, there's literally, if you can get it for 12, like, this is 2/3 of your value out the gate, right? And then these 2 are right out, you know, out the gate after that, and you get an awesome archetype and Trap Tricks, Kaijus, Mech Knights, artifacts, the hand stuff. So if you want to play like hat format, you could do that as well. So there's a lot of really good stuff. I would just get the structure deck. I have 3 copies of Evenly Matched because I got the structure deck. So that's just where I would go with that. I am curious to see the fluctuation of, Gammas. This might be a good time to buy. I don't think Gamma is going to be on the ban list forever, if I'm being honest. And I think a big reason why Gamma may come back, at the very least to 2, like where it is in Master Duel, is Max C, right? So on the off chance that Max C does come back, this is such a good card against Max C. You know, activate Brand of Fusion, chain Max C, chain Gamma. Activate Emergency Teleport, chain Max C, chain Gamma. Whatever it is that you're doing. That special summoning, if you have a pendulum effect, that's special summoning from the pendulum zone. Max C's trying to chain Gamma, right? So, you know, be on the lookout. I don't know how long Gamma is going to be limited. I don't think it's going to be limited forever, though. And right after a card gets limited is usually the cheapest that it gets. And then there's that creeping of could it come back type thing. So Gammas might be really, really good to pick up right now. I don't think it's great, but I said like 2 reallys, right? This card is sneaking up for some reason. I think it just hit a certain spot. Yeah, I just snuck under 5. That's why. It's a Link 6. It takes at least 3 monsters. Which, I mean, what's a Link 5? The Goddess of Underworld, is that her name? It's a good card, but it's so hard to summon. You know, and then Mathmech got hit too, so maybe Cyrus will be a little weaker. I think Cyrus will be fine, but maybe that's why this card snuck in down where it's at. I'm not really 110% sure if I'm being honest. Deck Lockdown, it's a bad buy. I told you it was a bad buy too. I didn't really think Super Heavy Samurai was that great of a deck to begin with, and then it got hit on the ban list. So there are still some Super Heavy Samurai cards lingering around here under $5 or less. That's interesting. This is another thing. This was another deck, right? Like Labyrinth. What was it? Marinus. What was the list of decks I rattled off there just now? The Trap Trick. That didn't get hit on the ban list. Sword Soul was one of them. I mean, this is from literally over the weekend. There are 2 different tops of Tenny Sword Soul, and now the entire format is worse. So, this deck is still relatively budget friendly, which is really, really nice. I mean, the Burst of Destiny version is still okay. Is still technically speaking a penny stock. I would get this version if you're talking about like buying and selling, since they're both ultra rares, because usually the only time a newer version of a card is going to outprice an older version of a card if it's a rarity bump, right? And that's literally not. It's literally the exact same rarity. So I would just, if you're trying to sell some Sword Soul stuff, I would just pay the extra whatever 50 cents. So $1.50, $2 for a play set of the Burst, right? Burst version. That was called Burst of Destiny. Is it that old? Jeez. It feels like that wasn't that long ago, but kind of does. I don't know. We don't usually have this. There's a pack on here. Is there? Was this? I think this is like the first time we've ever had a pack on here. So I guess we could take a look at this booster pack. I usually in the penny stock market watch, like on the regular market watch, I look at like booster packs and sets and different things like that. Because you know people will be more willing to buy those big things. But $250 is pretty good value on a pack. Are they really selling these for $250 on open? $250. It's interesting. It's probably just trying to get you to buy from themselves, because if you get over 5, $359 feels pretty good. I don't know. I mean, skill drain's in here, which is nice. This card, why is this an $8 card? Like, I feel like I have a decent pulse on GOAT format, and I just have no idea why that card's relatively expensive. It could just look cool. Is it just because it looks cool? Your guess is good. Like, this card being that expensive would make sense. This card being that expensive. This card being as expensive as it is makes sense. DD Warrior Lady's in here. These are actually some really good GOAT format cards. I think, right? GOAT format. Dark Crisis is GOAT format. I believe so. Ojama Trio. Final Countdown. You know, Konami might just mess around and bring Final Countdown back. This is something I don't think anybody's talking about, but because, like, why would they, right? But it's just something to keep in mind. Konami does random stuff all the time. Just on the off chance. I mean, there's only common versions. Goodness gracious. And this version's out of stock. The lowest listings is this one. Heavily Play Unlims for $3. There's 10 near mints of this one. You could just buy... Yeah, you could just buy it out at this point, because there's 2 for $360, 1 for $340. That's for 7 plus the 360 is $1060. 11, 13, 18, 23, 28. Stay in school, kids, because it's cool to do like math like this in your head without using a calculator. Thank you for coming to my tech talk. 34, 40, 40, 41, 46, and then just leave this. And there's 2 of these. Oh, and 3 of those. I didn't even notice that. So 46, 52. 72, so like $75. You buy all of these out, and then just randomly Konami's like, hey, here's Final Countdown back. Like, probably not. It's a really degenerate card, but you just never know. So something random to mull around in your head. I don't know if you guys are like me, but whenever I'm at work, sometimes I'll just think about random Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. And that's an interesting question to ask yourself. Could Final Countdown ever come back? I don't think so, but you never know, right? Let's talk about this card again. I've talked about this card on multiple occasions. I talked about it when it was here. I talked about it when it was here. I talked about it when it was here. I didn't talk about it here, and now we're talking about it again. This is really high for this card. It's an anti-link card. If it wasn't a trap, it'd be really good. I don't think this card's very good. It's sitting at around $5. It's just starting to sneak back down. Oh, Labyrinth. That's why. Labyrinth. That's why. Because it's a trap card. That makes sense. And a Pearly could side deck this card against a link-based deck. I could see that. Or like a Kashtira could as well. So that's very interesting. I still think that this card's not very good. I don't mean to be mean, but it's just trap cards. I mean, you got Welcome Labyrinth, Evenly Matched can be activated from your hand. Judgment's one of the best trap cards ever, and then this card. Those are the only trap cards in the top 24 best-selling cards right now, right? And so Big Welcome Labyrinth is like the main card of an archetype. Evenly Matched can be activated from your hand, so it's not really a trap card. And Solemn Judgment's one of the best trap cards ever. That's why those 3 are in the top 24. Why is this one in the top 24? I have no idea. Silent Mining is down. Is it down? I don't think it should. I really don't think Cybers is that bad. I think Mathmech is worth. I don't think Cybers is that bad, though. Okay, so this is just throwing everything off a little bit. If you can get your Silent Mining, because some people might be selling their Mathmech decks, right? So if you can get Silent Mining for like $3, $3.50, you're definitely going to be in a good spot, right? The Megaton version as well, from 2020, it's actually up. It just started to sneak back down, but it's actually up a lot. Is it even a penny stock still? Yeah. And it's starting to sneak back down. So, I mean, I guess we can also look at other stuff that Cybers run. I guess not even Cybers. But let's just do this, because I would assume, I think Small World might not be a penny stock. I don't remember. Where has Small World ended up as the years have gone by? Yeah, okay. Okay, so we'll talk about it some other time. We'll talk about it on the regular market watch, because this is the penny stock, $5 or less. We can actually go to the second page, too, real quick. This is the way it's been moving. I don't love going to the second page. That's kind of what I was looking for. That's weird. I guess Engage is probably not. Is that the reason why this is the first one? That just feels kind of weird. Actually, what's in this cart? I don't know if it's all still available. There's some price changes. I don't care. Oh, this is a different thing. That's what we're looking for. Let me get rid of this. There's some price changes. What got rid of? So all of these got taken. That's interesting. But yeah, so it's like 3 rows, 3 area 0, 3 jamming waves, 1 drones. All of these are now saved for later. RIP. That's not really that informative. But if we look at Sky Striker, if I'm able to navigate this well. If we look at Sky Striker right now, it is interesting that the best-selling card under $5 is multi-roll. Is it not Afterburners? Interesting. Did not engage? Why did multi-roll come up before? I don't know. I will say, like, this is a fantastic card, and the fact that it's at 3, I think here's a theory, right? The reason why the other Sky Striker cards aren't ahead of multi-roll, at least for the best selling cards, here's just a theory, here's just a thought. Sky Striker coming off the ban list obviously impacted the market. People who weren't playing Sky Striker bought Sky Striker just to mess around with it. That's why it was in my cart. I'm sure I wasn't the only person looking up Sky Striker just to see how much it might cost. It is still relatively budget, which is really nice. But the reason why multi-roll might be the best selling Sky Striker card right now, even better than Engage, is because regular Sky Striker, people who were already playing Sky Striker players probably didn't have 3 multi-roll, right? I mean, maybe they did. Maybe they had it since it got banned, right? But some people, especially the Magnificent Maze version, which came out with the card was at 1, they probably just had the card at 1 because that's all you need. Why would you have 3 copies of a card if you don't need it, right? Now, like, maybe some people like me, where I've had 3 copies of Salomon Great Gazelle for, like, a long time. And maybe they were like that with multi-roll. But I think that could be the reason why we see multi-roll where it's at right now. Me personally, I think the Magnificent Mavens version is the worst one to get. I know it's got the lowest amount of listings, so that thought, supply and demand would tell you, oh, we should get this one. And a lot of people like this has 1, 1, 1, 12, 1, 1, 21, right? This has 58 at 245. And then we look at the common version. The common version is cheaper and more available, right? So you'd be like, well, why would this one be worse than that one? Because this one's cheaper, right? So this one, they do the same thing. Like, I know they don't look as cool, but they literally do the exact same thing. And so you would go, well, if the reasoning is that cheaper is better, why is this worse than this one? Because this one has a better rarity, right? So this is kind of like the worst of both worlds, where this is the cheapest version, this is the best looking version, this is the one that's neither, right? So that's why for me, I would just get this version, right? But we'll have to wait and see. I don't, obviously the ban list wasn't live over the weekend, which is unfortunate because there was a YCS going on, but unfortunately we don't really know how good this deck's going to be. I think a lot of people are excited about this deck. I think a lot of people are wondering, could Sky Striker make some noise, get some tops, maybe even get some wins without Mystic Mine? Maybe. And a lot of these cards here could go through the roof, right? Because engages are still less than $1. If this deck gets a bunch of tops over this next weekend or whenever the ban list is live, I don't think you're going to see any engages that are $1 or less, right? Even though the card's at 2. So this deck definitely has a lot of potential even after the ban list, because I think there's, and this is your last week, truly, because this week is your last week where it's all speculative. How good will Sky Striker be with 2 engage and 3 multi-roll? It's all speculative. But this time next week, it probably won't be. But let me know what you guys think. What are the best selling cards under $5 or less that you were interested in? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you guys click that like button, show your support for the channel, subscribe for more content. Most importantly of all, have a good day.